whoever has the microphone, because I make sure if you want to raise your hand, just get the attention of the people with the microphone. Because I'm just going to go where they're going.
One quick question. You see, I went to study electronic engineering with nanotechnology at Southampton, and I thought, oh, I'm going to build a company, hopefully, and it will be powerful enough to help out the project. Now, you said something in your podcast about how disgusting it is to have a lot of money, but wouldn't money bring power, and power bring down the system we have now?
That is invariably that is a path that could be taken. I don't choose to acknowledge that path because I think money distorts things. For example, if you have someone who means really well, and they start a small organization for the betterment of society, say a rainforest foundation, and suddenly people believe in what they're doing, they get tons and tons of money. So the Rainforest Foundation suddenly expands into a massive complex with 300 employees, and suddenly they go IPO somehow. Maybe they produce something that helps with the tech, some form of, I'm being general here, I'm showing you the path. They produce something that is monetarily driven. So maybe they make books, and they sell these books constantly, and they start to employ all these people. What do you have? You have an establishment. You have an establishment that's been created that has to support it in there. So people are going to be very, 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 very restrict. They're going to be very, very, what's the word I'm looking for? People are going to be less inclined to want to move out of what they've created. If you make a bunch of money and you have a bunch of people that employ you and you're surviving and you're doing well, what happens when it reaches that point where what you're doing is actually a detriment? What happens when you become part of the system? And that's what I don't want the Zeitgeist movement to become, and I also don't want the air of this notion that people do things for money to enter in this realm. I don't want your money, I want your time. I think if people would put forward the time necessary to do this and the dedication. Money is a backdrop. I hate it when I see these commercials and it's for poverty and people can call up and donate $20 and it's for their conscience. It has nothing to do with the kids. They hang up the phone, they donate their $20 and they think they can sit back and not have to worry about things. I was on the plane flying here and they gave us these hideous little things that said, change for children. And it was horrible. It was just like the most miserable. When I walk into a convenience store and you put those little quarters and the little cardboard things for the kids, is that not the most insult? Am I the only one that sees the most outrageous insult in that? Because you don't have change for children. You make an establishment that makes nutritious food supplements and you make it extremely condensed and you send it to the impoverished countries. If the United Nations gave a shit about anything that happens in the world, they would extract the wealth from all countries in a program. They would build a massive factory to build highly nutritious, like space food, highly condensed. You add water to it if needed, and they would ship all of this out to to all of the billion people starving around the world. That's the level of it. So.
Hi, I just wanted to find out, as a movement, how do you suggest that we can ensure people don't become reliant on you and also Jacques Fresco as leaders and as the people to be the main informers of the movement?
Sure. Well, I think I've addressed that in a few radio broadcasts. The issue comes down to you educating yourself on the I'm just some random guy. When I made Zeitgeist 1, it was a project that was an art project. I had no intention of doing anything with it. It was not, I stole all the footage, and I put this thing together, and I showed it in Lower Manhattan as a performance piece, and then I threw it up on the internet like people throw anything up on the internet, and something happened, and unfortunately I had to retroactively go back and do all of this stuff. And then people that kept emailing me saying, what do we do? So I sat back and I said, okay, what do we do? So I stumbled upon a guy named Jacques Fresco, and it was just an epiphany when I realized what he was talking about. And I had a lot of nonsensical illusions that he was able to get rid of, because I had misconstrued notions. I had this us against them mentality. I used to be a card-carrying member of the anti-New World Order crowd, one of the most full of shit institutions there is. Don't believe anybody that says anything about that in a progressive sense. It doesn't do anything to think that there's an elite out there that wants to dominate you. And that's an aside from what your point. I want to make one point on this since I'm on the subject before I answer your question. If you have a guy that comes up to you with a gun and you're at a distance, you have a choice. You can duck, you can run, you can stand there and hope you can bargain with the guy so he doesn't shoot you. You have to make an immediate choice right then. But the real issue is not what to do at that moment. It's what made that guy want to pull that gun on you in the first place. Why did he choose to do it? And that's the issue. That's what everyone misses in this culture. No one knows, no one even reflects on the reasons. You go and a judge, kid gets arrested for stealing something, and he's before a judge. The judge doesn't know anything about his background. The jury doesn't know anything about his background. They have no idea why, his psychological reasoning for stealing something. All they see is the fact. And that's the surface notion that's so destructive. So boom, you incarcerate people, it just makes them worse, statistically proven. So as far as leadership and things like that, I can only hope that people will take the lead. I'm not that smart of a guy. I haven't done anything that unique in my mind. I'm just trying to talk to people and get people to do as I do. I'd love to see more films come forward. I'd love to see more projects. I'd love to see people take the idea and make organizations. For example, we have in the Pentagon in America is now making fully autonomous cybernetic robots, which can kill based on their intelligence, not based on direction, not remote control. They can adjust and kill. They can also eat and power themselves through feeding on organic matter, meaning they can kill somebody and they can eat it and they can power themselves. I'm not kidding. We need a center. You know, you have like these policies for nuclear, that try to get rid of nuclear weapons. There needs to be a new organization that goes against all of the technology that's being used for war. And that's a grave sickness. So people starting organizations like that, I think that would be an adamant organization. I've considered doing that as a subset of the Zeitgeist movement. So it really comes down to what you guys choose to do. You can stick the coin in the change for children purse, or you can actually get out there and do something as I try to do. So we all need to become the leaders in that sense. The beauty of it is, and this is why I've tried to organize the Zeitgeist movement all around the world, is that when the leadership becomes almost non-existent, when you have this ebb and flow of, say, here's the Russian Zeitgeist movement, here's the German Zeitgeist movement, and everyone is slowly working, and it becomes holographic. So if say the powers that be, someone gets angry and wants to take out a leader, well, they're going to realize it's not going to do anything, and they're just going to create a martyr, and people are just going to be more incited. So that's the goal. You have to. I'm not interested in and I want to see people take this direction forward. I'm a very introspective person. This is very foreign to me to talk to people. I'm doing it because I'm here because of everyone that has the interest in it, and of course my own interest. I can't sit back idly knowing this information and not doing something on some level about it. I just can't. That's just not who I am, and I don't think it's any of us actually once you understand it. So.